let's talk about this room. The room I'm currently in right now is my bedroom, and that's simply because it has a bed in it. If I had my way, it wouldn't, and this would just be my dedicated studio room. But for convenience sake, and for the fact that I live with two other brothers and other people in this house, I need to give some space to them for them to get away from me and not have the entire house full of drums. One day, I swear. Anyway, I want to talk about this room though because I do a lot of my work in this room, whether it be making videos for YouTube or Instagram or, yes, TikTok too. I want to really just break down what I use and how I've been recording things and sort of my progression over the years, and showing that you can start with literally nothing and then build up to a massive setup. Because believe it or not, I didn't have all this from the start. A lot of this shit's new, actually. Holy hell. My first setup, starting to record drums, really came about out of necessity during the pandemic. I was a student and I needed to be making videos for some of the college work I had. So I bought myself a little 2-channel interface and 2 really, really cheap microphones. Those microphones were a Shure PJ56, which is often a tom mic, and a Sub-Zero pencil condenser, which I sold to a friend of mine when I got to university because he needed a microphone for just his online lecture speak, and I was like, you can have this for a tenner, which is half of what I got it for. You do the math. Further on from that though, I began to expand the setup a bit more because a tutor of mine told me that having a snare microphone would really help things sort of clear up and would get me a bit more of a clearer video, because the video is going to have to be in mono, especially if I'm shooting for Instagram. So I bought myself an SM57. That was really when I started to become a bit of a snob. After that though, I bought myself a 4-channel interface, a Behringer Euphoria UMC 404, and I still have that interface to this day. In fact, I use it on gigs still, and currently it's actually part of the setup that I use for home recordings, as I create an aggregate device with my current interface, which is a UMC 1820, also by Behringer. When I bought that 4-channel interface, I then broke out into using stereo overheads, these things here, and also began to really open up my sound and sort of start budgeting for how I want to expand in the future. This was when I came across the UMC 1820 and decided I want to get that, and I put down the about £200 that it costs. Yes, I'm aware. And I bought myself a couple of tom mics with it too. Both AKG P4s, and as you can see, they are both microphones that I still use on the kit to this day because they actually sound great, even if they do bleed just a little bit much for my taste. Anyway, after I did that though, I really sort of stagnated with my kit sound for a while. It was just 2 overheads, 2 toms, snare and kick. I kind of got a bit complacent with how my drums sounded at the time because I was getting a really good sound out of it, and really for studio work that would be the bare minimum, especially because I was playing a lot of rock stuff at the end of the day, so I didn't need like a hi-hat mic to pick up or like the intricate like hi-hat rolls. It was just a lot of just thrashing and bashing, which would get picked up in the overheads as is, because there's a difference in how the overheads are used in a rock setting compared to even like a metal setting or a pop setting, but that's for another video. Eventually though, I was working with my old band Homeblood, and that's when I really dived into getting my setup a lot more dialed in. I started using a hi-hat mic, used up one of the 2 channels I had left and got myself a hi-hat mic, which is still set up to this day. It is a Lewitt LCT 040, and it sounds stellar, it sounds fantastic. And I also then later on bought myself a second kick drum mic. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. I put it inside the kick drum and I moved the PJ56 that I was using at the time as an external because it still has a large enough diaphragm to pick it up, and I'm actually really happy with how that sounds at the moment. The most recent addition I've had to the kit is using a bottom snare mic. Now, I was initially going to buy another 57, but my dumb drummer brain was, oh, I don't have the money for another 57, at least I don't have it in my budget at the moment. What was something I could buy? And I was looking around and shopping around, and actually somebody recommended me a Stag SM57 clone. I was apprehensive at first, if you could imagine, but I'm still using it on the kit to this day, and for a bottom snare mic, I actually really do like it. I mean, I mix it very low for the videos because I don't particularly enjoy too much snare sound in the sort of mix. I like it to be quite a fast, almost semi-choked sound, really, especially for making videos. But that's what I use, and since then that has been the most recent sort of adaptation of the kit. As for what I do for internal mixing, a lot of it is just presets. A lot of what I use is presets. On the kick in, I use the punchy kick EQ. On the kick out, I use, I think, either the modern or the low end kick, depending on the project. Snare, rock snare, that goes for both. Standard Logic rock toms sort of input for EQ, and then left and right overheads, I just maybe put like a high shelf on it just to get a bit more sort of attack out of it. And as for hi-hat, I often just EQ out all the bottom to about around 500 sort of hertz, get rid of that, and that would be sort of where I would put these things. And then a lot of the actual mixing and sound is in a bus where I just let Logic do its thing and put it all in one sort of big bus channel, and we'll put a general EQ on the kit. Often it's the refresh drums and maybe a compressor just to make things a bit more, I don't know, punchy and give it a bit more dirt, especially putting a little bit of distortion on the kit. That's something I really like to do, but I don't really do much. I like to capture a lot of the sound of the kit out here. I don't trigger, I don't sample replace, so what you're hearing in the videos is how this kit sounds in person, just compressed and EQ'd out any funny overtones or frequencies, really. I don't actively do much. Now, I'm a drummer, this is a drumming video, so I'm not going to talk any longer because I hate the sound of my voice, and I'm going to play some drums to the backing track I've made, which you've probably been listening to this entire time as some nice, soothing backing music. If you also record drums, let me know in the comments below what you actually do use, and let me know sort of what you do as well. And if you have any tips for mixes or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm still learning, I'm always a student, I'm never going to stop being a student, and I'm excited to really try new things with my setup. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.